Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This week's top 10 list, well, it's just a top 5 list. Most of the notes that I have in my collection, I collect for their numismatic value, numismatist value, the value of collecting the note. And unfortunately, there are a lot of notes out there that are never going to go up in value, and I try to avoid collecting those. But those notes would happen to be, well, the top 10, well, we're going to call it 5, the top 5 notes that have Santa Claus on there. Yep, it's that time of year, so we're going to do my top 5 notes with Santa Claus. I just don't have that many because I don't fork out a lot of cash on stuff like that, but I think it was cool to see that I've actually got 5, so here is the list. Number 5. This one's kind of interesting. It looks like it's in a little money gift card like this. And if we look at the back, it says a special gift wrapped in this unique present is hope. With the support of this program, you have made it possible for Santa to spread his magic through. And this is from Easter Seals, a holiday gift from Whitney and Santa Claus 2. I actually bought this off of an auction, and when you open it up, there is a real dollar. It says, Whitney now offers limited edition collector Santa dollar, adorned with Santa's smiling face, an authentic U.S. States note, both spendable and bankable. By playing Elf with the giving of this gift, you will help multiply the magic with proceeds from this program presented to Easter Seals. And if we look, that's a real dollar. I'm going to very carefully take it out of here because it's not protected by anything. This is an actual $1 note, and if you look, that's Santa Claus on it. Now, this was just done by printing Santa Claus's face over George there in the center. And there are all kinds of different faces you can get. I've seen Elvis, I've seen different presidents, I've seen all kinds of different movie stars. But yeah, this is a legitimate dollar, $1, real money, real spender, but with Santa Claus face. So this is technically just an art dollar, but I find it really cool because, well, it's Santa Claus and it's Christmas. So that is number 5 on my list. Number 4. When I was on my zero euro kick, I got this Santa Claus main post office from Finland. And it's a €0. So this is basically a souvenir. You can see right here it says Euro Souvenir. It has no value, but it has everything that any other euro would have. All the safety features, the same quality of engraving and everything else. Just a spectacular note. And each country, since they're all using the euro, was allowed to design their own €0. That way, they still have something unique about the currency in their country, even though all the countries are sharing the same currency. So it's a great idea. I think there's like 24 or 28 different ones. I don't even remember. So trying to collect them all would be pretty interesting. Now, some of the other features you're going to notice on here is this hologram. If you look close, that's actually the overhead view looking down of the Eiffel Tower. So that's kind of cool for a protective seal. And of course, well, you've got Santa Claus right there. And if we look here, it says Santa Claus main post office, Arctic Circle in Finland. So this was from Finland. You can see right here it says Finland. There is one problem with this. See where it says Arctic Circle and the longitude and latitude there? They spelled Arctic wrong. ARTIC is how they spelt it. There should be another C in there somewhere. So this is an error note, which is really fun. An error Santa Claus note is number 4 on my list. I do have 2 of these notes in there. That's why you see the doubling up of the notes like that. Number 3 on the list. Well, if I've got the error, you know me, I've got the corrected. It is the same note, but the corrected version. Now, if you look real close, it says ARCTIC, Arctic, not Arctic. There's the 2 side by side, so you can see them both. Arctic versus Arctic. So yes, number 3 on my list is the corrected version of the Santa Claus note on the €0 from Finland once again. Everything else on the note is the same. All the safety features and stuff, everything else is the same. They just corrected the spelling. I still count that as a separate note because I have the error and the corrected version. So that's number 3. Number 2. Number 2 is known as a fantasy note. This note never actually existed. It's simply a composite of various different parts of other notes to make what is known as the Reed Banknote Company Fantasy Bill. So it's not a replica. It's not a replacement. This note never existed. But this image here existed on a note. That 3 that was on a note before. The International Mississippi River Bank of Memphis probably exists. These images here were all used on notes. And of course, the central image of Santa Claus. That was most certainly used on notes. So this particular one is a graded fantasy note. I didn't pay that much for it. I don't recommend getting fantasy notes graded. I don't foresee this ever being a $1,000 note or anything like that. It is a very cool note to have. It's even got the hole punch for cancellation, so you can't spend it, which I find a little funny. But anyway, the $3 fantasy note is number 2 on my list because it was graded. That's kind of interesting. And finally, number 1 on my list, I have a reproduction card from the American Banknote Company, established in 1858, New York, New York. And this is a replica card, souvenir card, of the White Mountain Bank $2 note. And you can see here, this was given away to the Society of Paper Money Collectors, the International Paper Money Convention, Memphis, Tennessee, June 17th through the 19th in 1983. So it's a souvenir card featuring the White Mountain Bank $2 note, and you can read it here. The history of the White Mountain Bank in Lancaster, New Hampshire mirrors that of many of the private banks issued currency in the United States during the 19th century. Chartered in 1850, the bank issued its first notes around 1852. By approximately 1865, the bank was reported as being wound up because it was not in condition to be converted into a national bank. Many varied and beautiful vignettes were used on paper money during this period. The Santa Claus vignette chosen for this note is one of the rare, delightful, and unusual examples of the steel engraver's craft. There is the actual vignette of Santa Claus on the roof with his reindeer. That's pretty cool. So that one is easily number 1 on my list. I actually tried finding this note. There's one on eBay for like $700. I'm not quite prepared to pay that for it. But someday I'll probably get one. Anyway, if you learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading your comments. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. And Merry Christmas.